Hey y'all, today I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the supplies that you will need with your wigs. Uh, these are the things that will just make your life easier. If you don't have them, don't feel like you have to make a list to go and get all of this right away. But it does make wearing and storing your wigs a lot easier. So first let's start off with these wig mannequin heads. I'm sure everybody's familiar with the old styrofoam heads. This was a max volume, by the way. I washed her. So another thing that you will find very useful when working with the styrofoam heads is a C-clamp. Very, very, very simple little tool. Um, the screw here adjusts so it can basically go on any depth of a table or a counter. You've got the top here that fits up into the hollow hole right there. So once you have this unit clamped to a table or your desk or wherever you're working, it just makes it so much easier. These can be found on Amazon very easily. If you want to adjust the angle of it, this here, you loosen this part and then you can tilt, it swivels. And if you want to lock it into a certain position, you just tighten that part down. So that's good to have. To secure your wigs onto the heads, you will need a box of T-pins. Very useful. Always deal with your wigs very, very gently. You want these things to last, or at least I want mine to last. So don't use regular combs on them, okay? Always use a wide tooth comb. Or you can actually use a pick comb. This has a rat tail on it, a wide tooth rat tail comb. You don't want to get those little fine tooth combs because you will end up shredding and pulling out the strands out of your wig. This is a brush called the Original Super Looper by a company called Spornet. I'm going to turn this up so you can see that it's actually little loops of metal. There's no hard edges. It's like a little piece of metal or plastic that's in an arch. It doesn't snag the hairs. It's very, very gentle on it. I just would say never use a regular hairbrush on these things. Another thing that you'll find useful, and I've got it on this particular wig, I usually always keep the hair nets because that way it just keeps the hair nice and in place when you've got these in your closet or wherever you store yours that are on the wig head. Space is limited where I could put these if the cats can't have access to them. So what I do is I pick out the two wigs I'm planning on wearing in the foreseeable future, and I get them staked down, put the hairnet over them so they're not just fly away in the closet, and that's just what I do. But it's always good to keep the hairnets, even when you're keeping your extra wigs that are not on a mannequin. If you just put this back over it before you store it in your plastic bag. Now, to clean wigs, you cannot just use the shampoo you use on your head. Okay? You really have to use products that are specifically designed for wig use. And since all of my wigs are synthetic, I make sure that I buy the ones that's definitely for the synthetic hair. The one I use, you don't have to use the same brand, but this one is really good. Is the Revlon Texturizing Shampoo for synthetic hair, and followed by the Revlon Dual Use Conditioner for synthetic hair. These smell good. They smell clean. You know, if somebody walks up behind you and takes a sniff, they'd never know it's a wig shampoo. It just smells like a nice, feminine, clean. Well, I probably shouldn't say feminine. It's just got a really nice, fresh, clean scent to it, and it does a wonderful job cleaning your wigs. And you know, you can, how to get graphic about it. I don't use hairsprays or any type of product like that on my wigs. I may occasionally use a little detangler, but that's it. But you should wash your wigs if you use a lot of hairspray on them. If you have got, you know, really sweaty the day you wore it, I mean, come on, just give it a sniff test, you know, and give it a look. If it's looking real dull and battered and frizzy, then it's probably a good time to give it a bath. And make sure you get all your tangles out before you wash it. Go gently when you're detangling. Start at the bottom of the hair just like you would with human hair. You don't ever want to start detangling way up at the top. Always start at the bottom, working in a small section at a time, and then work your way up. So fully detangle your wigs before you wash them. This is a thing of thread that's used on hair weaves and wigs. You can get this on eBay. Because all of my wigs are either brown, blonde, or red, I just got the one color because it'll pretty much blend with any of them. It's kind of, I think it was called light brown, but it's a kind of a real neutral. It looks like it'll go with anything. Of course, you have special needles that go with that. You use that for sewing in combs if you're going to add combs to it. And my clip combs was the other thing. The only thing I couldn't round up before I did this video, and I got tired of looking for it. So that's why you're seeing it without it. When you get your weave thread, if you get it from the right buyer, you will get free needles, or at least I did. I had 3 different free needles. This is a C-hook type, you know, it's curved. Yeah, get in there. It came with a straight needle, a J-hook needle, and a C-hook needle. But that makes it a lot easier than trying to use a little bitty old thin needle and thread from your home sewing kit. Like I said, the other thing you're probably going to want, if you're like me and everything slides right off of your hair, I have real slippery hair, so adding the wig clips is a good thing. If you don't have any hair at all, I have been told that there is a gel type strip that you can get that's adjustable, and it will fit all head sizes, and it puts a little barrier so it's not so rough, and it also helps your wigs not to slip. And it's just a gel strip that goes around. Other things you're probably going to want, because I don't use hairspray at all. It makes me very, very sick every time I use it. Excuse me. Barrettes are always nice to have to change up your style. I love these the little tiny jaw clippies for, you know, doing up the sides. That's nice. When you're doing a comb out for the detangling, you could section off your wig and use these long clips and just pin up your sections while you're working. And of course, you're going to want to have both sides bobby pins. And that's pretty much it for things I can think of that you need to deal with your wigs. Keep them away from heat. Never run hot water on them. Please don't do that. Other things that you might not think about, but if you're wearing a synthetic, you really do need to think about is how you position your head if you open a hot oven. Because they say they're heat safe to 160, but I have never tested that theory. The way I look at it, if I wanted to heat style hair, I would just let my own grow out and I would fart with it. The best way to avoid any sort of heat styling is to buy the style of wig you want to start with. Don't buy a curly wig and try to straighten it, and don't buy a straight wig and try to curl it. Just, get the one that's in the finished style you want. All you should need to do to it is, occasionally pin up sections, do different parts, hair accessories, but really avoid all heat with your synthetic wigs. I hope that covers everything. I hope this is useful for somebody somewhere. And I'm going to give you guys another glimpse of how pretty Max Volume turned out after she got a bath. Can y'all see this? I think the problem was, I think she had picked up a lot of dust as a display item. So when I gave her a bath, she softened out tremendously. She doesn't feel as straw-like anymore. She's not completely 100% as silky and soft as, say, this little red one here. This one really feels like my own hair texture. She's a real fine and slippery. But this one just feels like, coarse, normal hair now. So giving this one a bath helped her a lot. Oh, and that is one more thing. When you do wash your wigs, don't put it on one of these to dry. Do not put it on one of these styrofoam heads to dry your wig, because you can mess up your wig cap that way. I mean, you may stretch it out at some odd angle and it's not going to really spring back because it's dried in that formation. So when you wash them, don't twist them, don't wring them. You can just take your hands like that and very, very, very gently just squeeze the excess dripping water off of it. And what I do with mine is I lay it flat on a thick towel. I give it about 3 hours, and then I go and I flip it over to the other side. And when it's almost completely bone dry, then I transfer it to a big roll of paper towels. Of course, you don't want it super wet and ruin your towels, but a roll of paper towels is the perfect size for it to finish off the last bit of drying. And when she is bone dry, then you can put her on your mannequin head and start doing a gentle brushing or detangling. Never, ever, ever, ever brush a wet wig or comb a wet wig. Don't. Wait until it is completely dry as the Sahara before you put a comb or brush to it. Okay, with these tips, your wigs should last you a nice long time. Treat them gently and they will give you some of mine are 5 years old and they still look good. So depending on how well you treat them, it's, kind of the longevity you'll get out of it. Well, thanks, guys. I'm so sorry. I got that cold coming back. I dosed myself up before I started the video, hoping that I wouldn't have any sneezing, coughing episodes. So that's why we are back to the no makeup. It's a conspiracy, I tell you. It's a conspiracy. The germs think, oh, look, she's so happy. Let's jump her again. All right. That's it for supplies that you need to keep your wig happy. I will see you guys soon with a Birchbox review. Thank you. Bye-bye.